rainbows and sun. It's you and it's me. Together, 1+1 is family. WandaVision.
So, WandaVision episodes 3 and 4. This is where things really start to kick up a notch, kick into gear. The mystery starts to unfold. Things are starting to unravel. It's all, for episode 3 at least, in the background of Wanda being pregnant and her powers not being able to cope with it. They're going a bit haywire in the extension of the fact, the old trope that a pregnant woman is a little bit haywire, a little bit emotional, a little bit hormonal. This has been expanded onto Wanda's powers, and things are going crazy all around her and Vision. Episode 3 follows in the sitcom tropes, and for episode 3, that is in the 70s style of the Brady Bunch, and to some kind of extent later shows like that 70s show that is also emulating that 70s style. Now, I think episode 3 is probably for me the turning point of WandaVision, where it actually really starts to get good. And I think for me, episode 3 really started to highlight some of the flaws in the first 2 episodes, particularly in how the first 2 episodes unravel their mystery. There's been a lot of dislike on the internet for episodes 1 and 2, and some of my friends and family haven't been too fond of the first couple of episodes either. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it's very, very, very focused on those sitcom elements. And while those sitcom elements are in episode 3, it's tempered a lot by the fact that the end of the episode features really heavily into the mystery. Now, the same happens at the end of episode 2 with the reveal of the beekeeper, and to a little extent in episode 1 with the choking of Vision's boss after he's starting to question Wanda. And that is where this kind of through line for these 3 episodes is that things go wrong or question Wanda, things go against the grain, and that breaks the illusion. So in episode 1, they're questioning Wanda, where she's come from, where's your family, why aren't you married, why? And that kicks Wanda out of the illusion. He starts choking because she reacts in an angry way. In moving into episode 2, the beekeeper, she rewinds the episode. Episode 3, that is our final scene with Geraldine, and it was a great ending to end a great episode. I was fond of episodes 1 and 2. I liked them. I don't have that connection to the sitcoms like a lot of people did, but I enjoyed them for what they were. I enjoyed them for the craft, and I picked up on the little bit of mystery that was happening towards the end of episode 1, and I enjoyed the twist at the end of episode 2. But like I say, episode 3 for me really kicked that up a notch, kicked that into gear. Reveal of the twins, which I was expecting, just from a little bit of knowledge about what happens to Wanda and Vision in the comics, and with her children, what kind of happens with them, which will be interesting to get into. I was expecting that, but that was nice to see. I enjoyed that. And the ending of the episode was good. It kicked off the mystery, and I think that's what the show needed. It needed that little punch of a better hook to keep people viewing. And I think episodes 1, 2, and 3, they should have come out together as a trilogy, as here's these 3 sitcom episodes, and at the end there's this big kicker of the show going up a notch, kicking things into gear a little bit more. And that is definitely what the show needed. Saying that, episode 4 continues that.
Lieutenant Trouble.
Episode 4 is from the perspective of Monica Rambeau, who is the daughter of Maria Rambeau from Captain Marvel, all grown up. It starts out with her returning from the blip. The blip is when everyone disintegrated in the end of Infinity War, and we pick up with her being returned in Endgame, and it's a really awesome scene. Like, it kicks off the show fantastically. You just have this slow-mo effect of her kind of drifting back to life again, which is then followed by her in a hospital panicking. People are just coming back left, right, and center, bloop, 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 bloop. It's awesome. It's a really cool scene. I'd definitely check it out just for that scene alone. If you've not been watching WandaVision, that scene is fantastic. It's a really great insight into what's happened in the Marvel Universe as people have come back. Really, really great. And then the episode basically follows Monica Rambeau as she has come back from the blip. He rejoins S.W.O.R.D., which is basically like S.H.I.E.L.D. in space, which is pretty cool, which ties back into what we saw at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, with Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury being in space on a spaceship, commanding a ship of Skrulls. So the episode follows her as she goes to Westview, follow a missing persons case. Who is this missing person? We don't know yet. It's not Wanda, but it's either someone in the town or it's Vision, I think. I think perhaps Agent Wu, who we get introduced to, who is a character from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think he may not know who his missing person is, just as a missing person. And I think the missing person might be either Vision's court or someone with powers that Wanda's gone to see. But continuing on, so the episode follows them basically as they're exploring what happens in Westview. Monica gets there. She gets sucked into Westview, which is why we've seen her as Geraldine in the past couple of episodes. And then it follows Darcy from Thor. As she's brought over to the show, they figure out that there's this kind of sitcom thing happening, and they basically have an episode where everyone in the show is doing what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, which is watching all these sitcom episodes, trying to figure out what the hell has gone on and what is going on. Who are these people? Why are they there? Are they real? What's happening? Who's doing this to Wanda? Is it some person doing it to her? What is happening?
It's Wanda. It's all Wanda.
And it's great. Yeah, it's a really, really funny episode. Really interesting to see that kind of side of it. I'd definitely like to see Wu and Darcy kind of as a Mulder and Scully of the MCU, going around and investigating all these cool things. They had a real good chemistry. But the episode ends with seeing what happened to Geraldine in the last episode. At the end of the last episode, Geraldine kind of remembers a little bit about who she was and where she was. And after Wanda has given birth to the twins, Billy and Tommy, she's speaking to Geraldine. She's asking where she's from. At the same time, Vision is questioning Agnes and Daryl, I believe his name is Daryl. They're acting weird. They won't talk to him about what's going on. At the same time, there's rumblings happening in Wanda and Vision's house. Wanda is talking to Geraldine about before she came to Westview. She mentions Pietro, her brother, and Geraldine kind of for a moment hears that name and snaps out of things, and she's like, Pietro, he was killed by Ultron, right? He's your brother. He's dead. And Wanda is like, no, you can't know this. What is going on? And she kicks her out. And that's what we see at the end of episode 4. We see it from that perspective. We see Wanda basically losing it, using her powers, getting all and kicking Geraldine out.
And I want you to leave.
And it's awesome. Like, Wanda is very clearly the villain in this. And I've seen a lot of people talk on the internet how they think that Wanda's being controlled or she's being manipulated. And I can see that happening, but I really hope it doesn't happen. Really hope that does not happen. I think it's really interesting that we're going to see an Avenger become a villain. And I think for it to be Wanda, someone who is by far one of the, if not the most powerful Avenger at this point, for it to be her, and for her to turn a villain for a really personal and relatable reason, and that being that she's so young. She's like 21 at this point in the MCU, and she has suffered mental anguish at being trapped in a building with a dark bomb that she's been worried is going to go off as a child, to the whole affair of Ultron and her brother dying, almost straight into Civil War and being accused of being this murderer and having the emotional guilt of that, and then going straight into Infinity War from there and losing Vision and having to come back broken and unsnapping right next to Vision's body, and then immediately having to go and face the person that killed him. That is traumatic for anyone, and I think it's going to be really interesting for Marvel to explore that and to explore the fact that this is a very young Avenger who's extremely powerful, and she has not been able to cope with it, and she's not had the support that she needs emotionally and mentally, and she's broken down and she can't handle it because of that, and that's caused her to take this dark path because she wants to make everything better. She wants to make things how they should be, not the bad way things have turned out for her. And I think that's far more interesting than it turning out that Mephisto or Agatha or someone has been controlling her the entire time. I think that will cheapen the idea that this is Wanda's doing, that this is Wanda just struggling and trying to make her life okay and find meaning in what's happened to her. I really hope that they don't don't end up having someone be controlling her. I think that'll be a very bad way to go. Especially as, big spoiler here, we know that Doctor Strange 2, which is going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, official description for that film so far is that Doctor Strange will be facing off an Avenger turned foe, and it has also been confirmed that Wanda will be in that film. I think it's very clear to say that she's not going to be redeemed at the end of this series. Wanda will finish WandaVision as a villain and will go into Doctor Strange 2 as the main bad guy. Now, is that to say at the end of Doctor Strange 2 she won't be redeemed in some way? She won't come back from things, start to realize the error of her ways? Possibly. But I think the idea that this next phase of Marvel is going to really focus on the multiverse, take ideas from comics such as House of M, where Wanda kills all of the X-Men, kills 99.9% of mutants, makes them stop existing, brings her brother back to life, brings her children into our universe, even though they've been conjured out of her mind. That is really interesting for the next phase of the MCU, and seeing Wanda as a consistent villain throughout that series as they start to introduce other multiverse reality warping villains, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to really like that as at least a through line for at least a few films and a few episodes. Maybe Civil War, Avengers 3.5 or 4.5 of this phase of the MCU will be them confronting Wanda, but that'll lead on to the true Thanos of this phase, who's likely to be Kang the Conqueror, from what we know from Loki, who is, you know, future descendant of Reed Richards' Fantastic Four. So we've got a lot of new stuff coming in from these shows, and it's really exciting to see that come. Oh, so I've been rambling for like 15 minutes at this point. That's crazy. But yeah, so like I say, you know, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in these episodes, and these episodes are where WandaVision really starts to pick up. Really looking forward to the next few episodes, kind of jumping between the sitcoms and the real world, especially now we know that Vision is starting to suspect and maybe turn against Wanda. He's starting to see that things aren't as they seem. He's starting to figure things out. There's a lot of places the show's going to go, and I think it's going to end up really, really well. I know some people probably aren't going to like the fact that Wanda's going to finish this show as a villain, as the bad guy. That's really exciting to me, and I really, like I say, hope that they don't chicken out and have someone controlling her or manipulating her. I think a villain like Mephisto, who is kind of like a devil, demon kind of character, is far more interesting as potentially the next phase's villain. You know, we've done Thanos, we've moved on to the multiverse, and now we have the next phase being manipulation and demons and evil itself incarnate, kind of viewing itself onto the MCU, which is quite interesting. But like I say, you know, it's interesting goings. There's a lot, something different in Wanda being the villain, and I hope it stays like that. So I'm looking forward to episodes 5 and 6. Hopefully I'll be able to get another one of these videos out after episode 5, and I won't have to bunch 5 and 6 together again. It's a great series so far. These 2 episodes have continued that trend, and I'd like to see where things are going. Thank you very much for watching this little ramble kind of review reaction kind of thing. Like and subscribe and all those things if you want to see more. I'm not going to do any like breakdowns or anything like that. I don't know enough about the shows and the comics and things to do a breakdown. I don't want to just rehash things that have been said already. But once the show's over as a whole, I would like to kind of explore the idea of a hero turning into a villain and looking at that from a narrative and story perspective. I've already been working on a video that's similar to that, but it's a very interesting topic, and I'd like to explore that a bit more. And the idea of using sitcoms as a framing device, that is also quite interesting. So like and subscribe, all that jazz. Leave comments down below whether you think that Wanda is going to stay the villain, whether you think someone's going to be manipulating her, or if there's something else going on entirely. What do you think is going to happen with Vision? Is he alive? Is he dead? Who are some of these people that are in the Westview anomaly with them? I know I'm probably missed a lot of details about what's happened in this episode. That's the nature of this kind of review. Thank you very much for watching.